Hello everybody, I hope you're well. It's my turn to do an assembly today. This month, all of our assemblies, or most of our assemblies, have been about Black History Month. And we spoke to you before the start of the month about why Black History Month was so important. And then throughout the month, different teachers have talked to you about different people from Black history and why they are important to them. So I know that yesterday, Mr. Knowles spoke about Mallory Blackman. Earlier on in the week, Miss Allison spoke to you. Earlier on the week before that, Miss Tunstall spoke to you. So you've had a variety of people talking to you about figures from Black history. And one of those assemblies, one of Mr. Knowles' assemblies, triggered the assembly that I'm doing today. So he did his assembly about a statue of Henrietta Lacks, which was made by an artist called Helen Wilson-Roe. And when I watched that assembly, I said to Mr. Knowles, I think we might be able to do something a bit special with that assembly, Mr. Knowles. I think we might be able to speak to the artist herself. So for the last few years in Black History Month, you've been studying the Seven Saints of St. Paul's that were created by an artist called Michelle Curtis. And we were really lucky a few years ago that Michelle came into school and spoke to you all about her artwork and looked at the artwork you've produced. This year, we're not going to speak to Michelle. We will send her your work. We always send her pictures of your work. But this year, the artist we're going to speak to is Helen Wilson-Roe. And when I watched Mr. Knowles' assembly, I said to Mr. Knowles, I think that my mother-in-law, my wife's mum, is really good friends with Helen, so she might be able to speak to us. And it's been fantastic that Helen has been able to create a little video to speak to you about how she created her art and about how you might be thinking about art and how you might be thinking about the future and how you might move forward with your life. So, before I show you the video that Helen has made for us, I've been thinking about our values. And I've watched the video that Helen sent us and I've been thinking, which value does this really pin into? Which value could I talk to the children about after watching this video? And it was really difficult because Helen talks in her video about respect. She talks in the video about how she's able to treat everybody she meets with respect. She's able to treat them how they would want to be treated. And that's really important to us, isn't it? It's really important to us that everybody is treated the way that they deserve to be, the way that you would like to be treated. But also, Helen talks a lot about hope and how she looked positively into the future and how she planned for what she wanted to become, how she planned to become an artist, the small steps that she took along the journey to creating the statue of Henrietta Lacks and creating some of her other artworks, which I will show you. And of course, Helen also speaks to us about excellence. Helen's work is excellent. She has tried her hardest. She's tried to make it the very best it could be. I'm sure there are things on it that she doesn't think are perfect, but she's tried her best in what she's done and she's proud of what she's created, which is how we should be feeling about our work. So today's assembly really speaks to you about three of our values. It speaks to us about excellence, it speaks to us about hope, and it speaks to us about respect. Okay. Also, I'm going to put this picture up on the screen behind me. This is my picture that shows mirrors and windows. Now, in my assemblies, I've been talking about mirrors and windows when it comes to books, haven't I? I've been saying that books can open a window into a world that we don't normally see, but it can also reflect something at us. We can see ourselves in the books. And when you're watching Helen's video shortly, I want you to think about which bits of it make you see into the world of an artist, of someone who's created a sculpture, of someone who is excellent at what she does, and which parts of the video make you think, oh, I'm a bit like Helen. There are things in her life that are a bit like mine. Because I'm sure there will be things that you can, that reflect your life to you. And for some of us in our school, there will be even more that reflects towards you. When you look at Helen, you will see yourself in her, which is an amazing thing to be able to do. So, Helen is the artist that created this statue there. And in the picture up there, there's some of my family with the statue. So I thought I'd show you that because that was how I knew that we'd be able to speak to this artist. Here's a picture of Helen in her studio with 2 portraits that she's drawn or painted of members of Henrietta Lacks' family. And before I show you any more of her artworks, I'm going to play you a video of Helen speaking for herself. So I'm going to make myself very small. Off I go. And here we are.
Greetings everybody at 2 Mile Hill School. My name is Helen Wilson-Roe. I am a Bristol-based artist. I am the woman that made the statue of Henrietta Lacks, the first statue of a black woman to be made by a black woman in a public space in the UK. I hope you managed to go and see the statue, and if you look carefully you might see me hiding somewhere. I'm also going to be landscaping the garden at the university to create an area that's reflective on Henrietta's name and her heritage and her ancestors. Hopefully you'll be able to see that at some point. You'll be able to research about the plants that I'm planting. Most of the plants will be red, so every season you'll be able to see something that's red. It will be red berries or a red tree or red shrubs, and every plant has a reference to Henrietta or the enslavement of the people in Bristol. I started my art life quite late. I started when I was in my 30s. I grew up in Southmead and I went on to live in Easton where I grew up.
So I'm just interrupting Helen now. I'm just going to make myself big again. So this bit of the video made me think about hope and of excellence. Helen didn't become an artist until she was in her 30s, until she was 30 years old. So I hear some of you saying, "Oh, I'm not very good at art. Oh, I'm not very good at reading. Oh, I'm not very good at maths." You're not very good yet, but you can get better and better and better. If Helen, a professional artist who's made this amazing statue, managed to keep going until her 30s before she became an artist, it's never too late for you to keep trying and get better and better in whatever it is that you're determined to do. Okay, right, I'm going to make myself small again.
My 2 boys, Otis and Ben, and I worked as a painter and decorator to start with, and then I managed to get to university. I went to Rwanda to document the aftermath of the genocide. That's the first time an artist had gone to Rwanda. When I went many years ago, you had to have permission from the Rwandan government and permission from the UK government because it was still not safe to go, but I went. I created 13 large-scale paintings. Some of the paintings were 15 foot. And got exhibited at the Bristol Museum and Birmingham Museum, and now the paintings reside in Rwanda. I've carried on, made a documentary about Henrietta, went to America and documented meeting the family, interviewed the family, and I'm currently making my 2nd documentary. I also made a stained glass about the enslavement of people in Bristol and the connection to the slave trade. It's the first stained glass ever made by a black woman.
So this bit made me think of the mirrors again. I've lived in Bristol for lots of my life, and what Helen has done is she's used where she lives to create her art. And I thought, in our school, we're trying to use where we live to build our knowledge of history, aren't we? So this made me think of us. It made me think of 2 Mile Hill and the work we do that's based in Bristol.
About the slave trade, and the Museum of Bristol brought the stained glass. I'm trying to get it on loan at the moment to have it out on public display. And basically what I'm trying to say to you is never give up. So if you want to be an artist or anything you want to do in your life that's progressive and good, even if it's never been done before, because I was always told, well, there's no women that have made sculptures of black women in the UK that are displayed. So I thought, well, I'm going to do that. So, don't ever be put off by people saying no. I've had many doors slammed in my face in regard to funding. Never really got the funding at all for many years, so I worked full-time in a hospital to supplement my income. But you know what, it was really good to work in a hospital, especially for the NHS, because you meet many wonderful people, and through working through the hospital I got to meet Bristol scientists who put me in connection with the HeLa cells, and is basically got me where I am now, and also it gave me empathy, so I was able to work with many people on many levels. I was able to talk to anybody at any level, and that's something I'm really proud of. So what I'm trying to say to you is never be put off by people saying no to you. Just find your way around and continue to reach out for the dreams and your dreams, and you could be the first to do something in your life. So never give up. Take care. Bye.
Amazing. So, definitely that video talks about hope. Definitely that video talks about, even if something's difficult, even if you're told no, even if you don't feel like you can do it, you need to keep going. You need to reach for your dreams, as Helen says. Okay, I'm going to make myself a bit smaller again because I want to show you some of the pieces of art that I really love. Well, I want to show you one piece of art in particular because, again, it made me think of us. It made me think of this school. So, this is an amazing portrait of Henrietta that Helen has created. It looks a bit funny, doesn't it? Well, if you zoom in, that is the bottom corner of the picture down here. Just by this part of my shoulder, I zoomed right in and I took a little snapshot. And each part of the picture is a picture of one of Henrietta's family. And this triggered an idea in my mind. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but we're going to hopefully do a whole school project that reflects this picture. Okay, I don't want to say too much more to you today. I hope that you thought that this assembly was as special as I did. It's amazing for us to have the opportunity to speak to somebody who is making history at this very moment. Helen Wilson-Roe, who is above my head there, who's just spoken to us, is the first black female artist to make a statue of a black female and get it publicly displayed. She's done lots of firsts. She was the first artist to go to Rwanda. She was the first artist to make a stained glass. She's made 2 documentaries. All of these things should inspire you and should fill you with hope during this Black History Month. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I've gone on too long. Have a lovely day, and I will see you on the playground.